Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. We are back, all four comrades in the chat. How we doing, boys?
What up? What up? We here.
We feeling
We
good?
alive.
Have we been
That was
gaming?
the most enthusiastic.
Yeah.
We have to do this like a corporate morning meeting. That's not good enough, folks. I said good morning.
Good morning.
How we been doing? How we been gaming? I know I've been gaming. I've been on a tear lately.
My
We
gaming's been rough. It's been some night gaming where I fall asleep in the middle of gaming.
fall asleep playing Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Yep. Just literally running into
Okay, at
corners.
least you're playing
Like
on your
wake up.
controller and not like so you're not playing handheld in bed where you're being woken up to the fucking Switch or Steam Deck smacking you in the face.
No, thankfully not.
Yo, if the primary reason I will never
That's how you
Steam
get.
Deck like in bed like that is because if the Steam Deck lands on my face, I'm breaking my fucking nose.
Yeah, my
Dude,
nose or my
they-
glasses.
They make things that you could put onto your bed frame that will like hold
Yeah, I'm
it
not a
for you.
goblin like that.
Oh my god.
I do not have one. I would just
Those
like
are
to make clear.
specifically for iPad kids.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that they can have that.
Yep.
That's like with babies, the little mobile
Yeah,
hang
yeah.
above them, so they
Yeah,
can.
that's the new mobile. That's fantastic. That's an incredible analogy for those things.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that.
you need the stimulation.
It's the new mobile.
It's how we get new neurons to connect.
Yeah.
Forming new pathways with all the
I
pretty
actually
colors.
think that it's quite the opposite at certain age groups. I think it's destroying neuron pathways.
It marks the death of certain brain cells. Yeah.
As you're sleeping, your memory, like the filing cabinet, like SpongeBob, they're going through like, well, doesn't need to remember this anymore.
Yep, burn
Not
that
this
one.
either. The only
Mr.
thing we
Beast
can remember is
Feastables?
fine dining.
Internalized.
No, dude, it's
That
all about the
6-hour
lunch. It's all about the
YouTube,
lunchly ones that are also full of lead.
No,
Ooh,
dude, no, you don't
lead.
understand. It's not just lead, it's other excessive amounts of potassium and various other minerals and metals you're not supposed to eat that much of.
I
Actually,
love heavy metals.
those are called electrolytes. They're good for you. It's what the plants need.
What the plants need.
Brando, it's got what plants crave.
The worst thing that ever happened to society was Gatorade being good enough that people are like, oh my God, electrolytes, I need more of them.
Always need electrolytes.
Like, hey, friend, have you had anything with salt in it today? Welcome to your electrolytes.
Yeah,
I
the
love,
marketing.
I love the so-called like fitness and health influencers who just
Ugh.
making my water of the day with all these fucking disgusting electrolyte
metals.
packets, and like the ones that will put like these like it's like the Mio type like drop things, but it's like it's basically glitter.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
basically glitter that they're edible glitter, quote unquote edible glitter. It's like they're literally just ingesting the microplastics at will now.
Yeah, that's we in the machining world like to refer to when you make good chips on a material. We call that the sparkly pointy glitter, and they're fucking eating that shit.
Yeah.
Well, did you see the meme I sent you guys today of like all the microplastics in my body coming from biting the
Pokemon bouncy
See,
balls?
I don't associate with that because I was never a kid who needed to fucking bite things.
I definitely get a few
I
in
chewed a
my
little
day.
bit. Hell, I currently have a thing of silly putty in my hand right now that I've like moved my fixations, right? I use it as like a stress ball. I squeeze it. It's a fidget toy.
The closest
I'm not
thing
gonna
to an
lie.
oral
I'm not gonna lie.
fixation I've
I
ever
like
had
chew.
I will hold a pen in my
I
teeth.
would chew it.
I'm thinking.
Not like repeatedly, but
definitely
you would let the intrusive thoughts win and be like,
Mhm.
what would it be like to bite this right now?
Yeah.
And it was fun. To be honest, those
Silly-
particular balls broke
Dentists
nicely.
love this one simple trick.
Silly putty is forbidden gum at 100%.
Yeah.
I have not done
We
that.
do not
That
at
is-
Campaign
No, I
Comrades
don't. I
condone
don't
the
chew.
eating
I
or
don't
chewing of
chew
silly
on
putty.
it. I don't chew on it, and I don't do it anymore. But definitely, as a kid,
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
just pack it in my lip
I
like
wonder
a
if-
dip tin.
like a fucking
Like a
dipper,
dipper.
an upper decker.
Yeah, I'm doing it like my college coach, and I'm doing a double horseshoe while I'm fucking screaming at you, and you got little particles sticking to your visor.
Oh god.
Hey, it's just big league chew.
Yo, we have gotten
Classic.
way off
Yeah.
track.
This is
It's fine.
this is how episodes are supposed to start.
I wanted to start with talking about
Just a slight tangent.
all the fun games that I've been playing this month because fucking September has turned out to be pretty much banger after banger.
Almost too many bangers. I kind of wish that some of them were spread out a little better so that it wasn't such a drought of like June, July.
Yeah. Although
Yeah, this year had a big grouping.
for me, anyways, these were all reasonably scoped games that they didn't
Oh yeah, they're all
interfere
pretty
with each
short.
other. So let's run down the list of what I played and we can talk about them. So obviously, first one was actually I played Space Marine 2 before Astrobot, even though Astrobot came out first.
Well, you also had the deluxe.
I did get
Free play.
early access to it, but which I will defend myself in that because I don't like that as a business practice. I did not buy that version for the early access. I bought it for the steelbook. The other degenerate consumer part of my brain is like, "Ooh, I want the fancy steelbook," and it was
Shiny
worth it.
thing. That's the raccoon brain.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like
steelbooks are
that,
just
but
nice.
They're shiny and steel, and the
Shiny.
raccoon
Well,
brain gets
They
tickled.
are
by
absolutely
it's
not
on my
steel.
shelf.
They are almost guaranteed to be aluminum.
Well, you know what I mean, though. They're even better, fucking aluminum. Raccoons love
Oh,
tinfoil.
there's a fun thing right now where it's like aluminum raw material value is like skyrocketing because we're going through a
Aluminium.
slight aluminum shortage right now.
That's pretty funny.
Gotta get those definitely not small African child slaves back into the mines.
Yeah.
End that shortage now. But yeah, Space
Yeah.
Marine 2 was fucking sick. If you want to see my detailed thoughts on it, you can go check out my review of the game that is up free, no, not behind the paywall, but on our Patreon. Been being more active, posting more written work there.
A gift to you all should be a paywall. That's how good it is.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking maybe eventually,
Yeah, we gotta lure them in. It's
yeah,
price
yeah,
gouging. It's
exactly.
like
Gotta
Uber.
lure them in, and then maybe like
Yeah.
write more
Every good
pieces that
podcast
then
I
stay
listen
behind the
to will
paywall.
occasionally drop their Patreon episodes free. It's definitely not a tool because of like, oh, I just don't want to record an episode this week. Let me just take a 3-year-old Patreon episode and drop it now. But it's also a means of being like, hey, look what you're missing out on by not giving me $5 a month.
But Andrew, you're the only one who's played Space Marine 2 yet. You were just on vacation though. Did you get any gaming done on vacation? Did you bring the portal with you and try to play
So
Space Marine?
so I drove down. So I brought the whole console with me. Um,
Come
He,
on,
he
we
plugged it
know
into a
he'd
little
be
TV
doing
monitor in his car. He was playing while he was driving.
Yeah, exactly. I had a dual screen going. One was the road in front of me, and the other was Space Marine. And we made it safe. I'll say that. But anyways,
You're here.
yeah,
He's
I'm
gonna
here.
pimp my
He
ride.
he made it back. Yeah.
I made it back. That's the important thing. Um,
I mean, he was driving a bigger car, so everyone else on the road, get the fuck out.
yeah, in my Tesla Cybertruck that I got tank tracks on, I was just running people over. Anyways, though,
If you'd
I
gotten
brought
the
the whole
Honda,
console.
if you got the Honda Fila, you could have just played your PS5 natively in the car.
Like a real boss. I brought the console, but I bought it. I brought it to primarily get more done in BioShock over anything else. So that's what I played when I did game. So I've not made any additional progress in Space Marine, unfortunately. But
Where
I
are you
Hell,
in BioShock?
if you hop back in to Space Marine, let me know. I'll happily still pop the disc back in and join
no,
you.
that was the other thing is like that. I do enjoy playing it with you as well because you carry me.
Yeah, so
And
letting me carry your ass
at
on the higher
this
on the
point,
higher
I'm scared.
difficulty.
I'm scared. I'm behind the difficulty curve if I'm solo. So we'll see.
I just had a brilliant idea quickly that I want to share when Ben
Go
said
for
that
it.
he had to take out the disc. I know that the industry is going completely away from discs. We'll talk about the PS Pro later, or the PS5 Pro, but wouldn't it be lovely if you put a disc in and then, like, I know that the consoles don't want it to be downloaded forever because then you're just like selling the disc, sharing it, or whatever. But you know how like you save a password on your computer, or like it remembers you for 30 days? It would just be lovely if for like 30 days after you put the CD in one
Yes.
time.
Because the disc isn't doing. So I know Matt's shaking his head, but for a convenience factor, I'd like that because all the disc is doing is just verifying that
Yeah.
I have the right to play it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
at
it's
this point.
it's validating the license. The issue with that, there's so much gray area that falls into that idea. Like,
I'd love it. I'd love that. That would be nice to get
'Cause
best of both worlds, right?
Because then you really could just pass the game around between you and all your friends.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, whatever. A 7-day.
They could lock it into a
so
console,
like
though.
Nintendo has a method for Switch Online where you can access the entire Switch Online library offline as long as you have validated that you have Switch Online once a week. So like if I'm going on vacation, I open my Switch up, do a hey, you're awake, here's the internet, there's my license, and then I can access all of the Switch Online classic games without an internet connection for a week.
I didn't know that.
See?
Yeah, that's
Cool.
nice. That's nice.
Or why? How about better question? Why has no one created the classic CD changer? Third party plugin
Yeah.
for
six-disc
the play.
changer.
Yeah, you could have a six discer up there.
Do you want a real reason?
I mean, I'm sure it's like a heat thing.
Oh, it's not just a heat thing. I mean, that's a lot of mechanical failure points, rotating,
Yeah, that's
spinning
fair.
Dude, I
discs.
cannot tell you the number of family cars that had discs permanently lost and
Blocked.
stuck in
Oh,
that,
it's just gone.
in that changer. Just hate it. Hate it. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Like,
Change the album. Actually, we only have Backstreet Boys in here.
Yeah, so
It's locked in.
Who can
only
remember-
playing Creed, and in which case that's a win. That's a win for me. So
who can remember friend of the pod Joe's car with
Mm.
Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style stuck in the tape?
Yes,
In
yes.
the-
again, another win. Another win.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an incredible win.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have not.
Imagine getting in a car and buying it and finding out that it has like Nickelback stuck in and the
Oh,
radio
God.
doesn't work.
Hey,
And
I'll be
it's
the
a
apologist
single.
there. That's fun. Oh, okay. No,
It's not even an album, it's a single. You get one song over.
Yeah.
Just
Side
photograph.
of a bullet.
Just photograph over and
Yeah.
over.
but
I mean, that was the radio in 2005. So
I would admit, right, that like I had finished Space Marine, was still playing with Andrew, but I had I had personally moved on to Astrobot, and like, yeah, it was kind of annoying. It would be like a little bit the tiniest, littlest bit of annoyance to have to pop the disc out and put the new one, and keep swapping.
Whenever I
them.
see someone on Reddit in particular, it's always Reddit because that's where I go. When they're like, dude, I do digital only because changing discs is too much of a hassle. I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
how many
person's-
fucking hundreds of pounds do you weigh, you
I-
fucking gorilla?
As the one person who I know is a digital guy in the group here, I
No, I'm
want to
pretty
state.
digital at times.
Yeah, I know you are too, but I want to state it is nothing to do with taking a disc in or out of the console. That is not why I do
argument,
it.
I immediately throw anything else they're saying away. I'm like, yo, if you're complaining about 5 seconds of disc out into case, disc in, man, that is.
You know what the issue is? All of those people have severely undiagnosed ADD and like can't actually keep their discs organized,
No.
That's the real problem.
No, because they wouldn't be 600 pounds if they,
Yeah.
if they had ADHD. The Adderall helps with that.
No, it's
Oh,
undiagnosed.
fair. Yeah, you're
It
right.
tends not to be an issue for me, largely because I play a game and put it away, back
Yeah.
on the shelf. I tend
That's-
not to be going back and forth between things. So it's a rare.
You'll
it's a
rarely
rare
catch me
occurrence
having to
for
do that.
And it's just it's sure the tiniest bit like oh yeah, that's a bother as I have to go in, close the game and do it, but like whatever, I don't care. I'd still rather own the physical game. It is not nearly.
It's up there with the complaints about like the PS5 not having themes from the PS4. It's like, dude, how long are you spending on the PS5 home screen?
I would still
I-
like to have I would still
No.
like to have a theme. I
They
like that
added the welcome hub as like
No.
a mediary
yeah,
for that.
I have
But
No.
every
I have
game
the
has its
I
own
have the
theme.
Astrobot one now. Yeah.
No. I have a specific gripe, and it's not even that. It's that they took away the wallpaper function from the PS3. That is bullshit. I want to have a naked
the same
woman
thing as
on my
themes on
home screen like
PS4.
I did when I was 17.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
fair. I do remember that.
Yeah, whom amongst us doesn't
I mean,
want
I'm
to
probably the only person here who even touched on the fact that on the PS4, when you got platinum trophies, most of the games would then give you a custom theme for platinuming.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So usually the only thing I would do is I would cycle whatever my most recent platinum was to be my theme. So like Horizon or
Yeah, I like that.
Bloodborne or
That's
God of
cool.
War.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's a cool, like, actual tangible thing for platinuming a game.
Yeah, that way
so,
when you get a, you bring a lady friend over and you open up your PlayStation, you're like, yeah, that's right. I platinumed Horizon Zero Dawn.
I
pretty fucking
platinumed
cool.
a,
I'm
a
a
game with a
feminist.
female character.
I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
yeah.
Aloy doesn't offend me.
I'm
I know
gonna
about
play
Peach
Ghost
Fuzz.
of Yotai and not fucking throw a temper tantrum on the internet.
You're getting ahead of the game there, but yeah, we'll talk about that one.
Sorry, it was just set up well.
Yeah. So, we've only talked about basically the first game that I played this month. Yeah, at Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, highly recommend. Lots of fun.
40,000. 40,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when you say it fully.
Formal. He's going
Yeah,
formal.
yeah. I went to
Using
stead
the
on
government.
Government names nowadays.
Yeah, his
40K,
government name is John Warhammer. Really fun, really good. Blast from the past kind of shooter style game, but with a really modern art style, attention to detail.
I mean, if you do a
graphical-
zoom out of this whole
graphically
month, it was
beautiful.
kind of a blast from the past month in general.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes was it was Doom Guy and one of the characters from Animal Crossing on his shoulder, like, hello, Space Marine and Astrobot. So it's just like these two like
We
major
didn't get
games.
as glorious of a crossover there. Like when Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, there were some, like, I'll send them. There's some great songs that came out of that. There were some little collaborations. We didn't get like fully like Astro Marine 2 or
I want a Astrobot used as a human energy source, like they have those guys at the doors chained up. I don't know what they're called, Ben. I'm sure you know the name.
They're servitors.
Yeah, let's have a Astrobot servitor.
completely rip-offs of the Necron Catan, except
Yeah,
Catan are way cooler.
they make Astrobot into a cherub servitor. The little,
Yeah,
the little
yeah.
fucking babies that are flying around the chapel. Yeah. But yeah, so next one for me, even though it came out first, technically, was Astrobot. And I know Matt finished that first, but it has now made my second platinum ever.
Nice.
Was
Congrats.
Astrobot.
Round of
It's
applause.
an easy platinum.
It was not hard at all.
We'll see if
Celebrating your
I
win
do
and
it.
then Matt
14 or
chopping you
15
down.
hours.
Yeah, mine was right around 15 as well. And it was fun. And if we have time today, I'm going to read an article about Astrobot that's going to make Matt want to kill me. Just cocking the shotgun. But
All right.
it's all right.
Skip it. Scratch the rest of the episode. Jump to that now.
We do a
But-
whole episode of that. Just realize I'm the editor.
Yeah, so Matt's the editor, so he's just if I put it at the end, yeah, he's just gonna cut it out. But yeah, man,
I'll do something even more obnoxious. I'll just beep it.
Yeah. So are Matt and I the only ones who have played it? I know Andrew, you were playing
Yeah.
Playroom to get ready for it.
I beat Playroom, and I you should totally play them, Mike. And I definitely play Playroom. It'll make you buy Astrobot pretty much immediately, because that's what I did. And
Astrobot's probably the best 3D platformer I've played. I'm not gonna say Beyond Odyssey because that's blasphemy in so many terms.
I don't like
but,
Odyssey.
it's
I
real
don't
close to
care.
getting past
No,
Odyssey.
I don't care.
don't.
It's better than any Mario game I've ever played. 100%. I do not care.
Maybe classic Mario on the for me
Sure.
on the Game Boy is a
It's-
different experience.
The,
But
the
yeah,
best
Yeah.
description I've seen it called is it's Sony's Mario 64.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
but can you do the infinite ass bounce glitch? I don't think so.
It's
But
called a BLJ. Learn your terminology. God.
I'm like I don't know, what is it, galaxies, universes, whatever the
Galaxy.
like
I think they call them
subsets are.
galaxies, yeah.
I'm in the midst of the second one, so I'm not too far in, but I have put a couple hours.
That's the tentacle one, I think, right?
Yeah.
The squid one.
That's
Yeah.
hentai.
Yeah.
The one complaint I have from the actual game is the bit when you find the lost galaxy and it boots you out of the level.
I disagree fundamentally.
I would have liked to just be able to, okay, I finished that one. Let me just go right back to, zorp me back to the entrance point.
It's a secret exit. Secret exits have always kicked you out of the level.
Yeah, but then you have to go through the whole thing, and it's particularly for the ones where the
I
lost
have to play
galaxy
the
is at
fun
the beginning.
platforming again.
It was just like it's not a serious gripe, but it was just a little one. Be like, yeah.
In my
let me just sort
experience, at
back
the very
to
least, I didn't necessarily find most of the portals organically through the first time run through. Like I tended to just do whatever I saw that seemed apparent. So like that first portal you run into where you got to like use the pig enemy and blow up that ice.
Yeah.
Like I didn't find that one organically. I looked and was like, huh, it says there's a secret exit here, but I don't see anything that would remotely indicate that I've missed something.
After a certain while, I had just opened up something. I was like, where is each lost galaxy? And just made sure to check off my list that way. It's just easier. But yeah, a lot of them were easy to find, but then there were a couple that were pretty obtuse. Like there's
There was one in
most
the bathhouse level where you get the sponge power up, where I found where you were supposed to go, but I didn't put two and two together.
Oh, that
I
one
supposed
was
to jump into the chimney.
No, that one was supernatural for me because it leads you up there to the path, and I'm like, the only thing there is the fucking chimney, so I'm gonna jump down it.
Well, I didn't know to jump on the tree. I was like, that doesn't seem like platforms.
The toughest one, I think, the most obscure one is like it's at the start of one of the levels, and you literally have to turn around and go through the water and have the guy electrocute the two pillars to
Oh,
open
that's
it up.
that's the level with the big bot.
That's one of the that's one of the
It's actually one of my favorite levels.
it's a good one, but it was one of the more obscure entrances that for me. But yeah, no, I really liked it. Like, and I am not a platforming fan at all. So the fact that I like these games at all should really
Well, the thing that it does really well is it doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't like each level doesn't have 40 bots to find and 15 puzzle pieces, and they keep it very, 3 puzzle pieces, 7 bots, quick, tight level platforming.
what's the kind of the parallel that I'm finding so far with this game and now the most recent one that I'm playing is that they find the right balance between it's like giving you the dopamine hit of not being so difficult, but being just clever enough to make you feel smart when you find the real kind of hidden bot or the hidden puzzle piece. It's done organically in such a way that it makes you kind of explore and look around every corner. So
They also do a really nice thing.
I only had to replay levels for things outside of those, finishing the secret entrance things. I only maybe like 2 or 3 or less than 5 levels did I actually have to go back and replay to find a missing piece.
Did you pick up on the fact that when you replay levels, they add the little
board, the little board that you pay 200 coins for, and he shows you where the missing thing is. Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily. He just flashes when you're nearby.
Yeah. He gives you the little directional cue. It's a little radar.
That's just another nice little touch to add for like replay push through, where it's like, hey, you missed some stuff. Do you not want to use a walkthrough and want to use a game mechanic to find it instead?
Yeah, I totally agree though with you, Ben, about why I enjoy it, and it's so far because the difficulty is just dialed in perfectly.
because I know Matt had made this point when because he was obviously playing through them first, that like you only need to do these if you're trying to go for like the platinum or whatever, but like the actual challenges completely optional, right? Like it's when you go through the different galaxies and you
Yeah,
get
the shape
the
galaxies.
the little shape ones, like the buttons, you know, X, circle, square, triangle, and then there's the very final ultimate challenge. Like the true platforming challenges are entirely optional. I mean, they each have a bot tied to them, so if you want to get all bots, you need to do them. But completely optional, and yeah, the difficulty ramps up pretty significantly in those, but they're pretty rewarding.
One of the like when discussing the final challenge for the Sage bot at the end, it's like none of the things in there are necessarily
No,
particularly individually hard, but it's
no,
stringing
they're
together a
not.
perfect run.
Yeah, no, it really was not that hard that I kept like dying at these like repeated things that just kept pissing me off to the point where it's like I know what's going on here. I should not be dying. I'm just mistiming a jump when I'm trying to jump. Say
I
like
love a game where I can get mad and be like, "Damn, I'm just not fucking good enough. Get better, you idiot."
it was the parts that I would get stuck on were the goo guys who shoot things at you,
Yep.
Mm,
and then the at the very end of the ultimate level, the when they're shooting the birds in the
Yeah.
shapes.
I died missing the very last trampoline.
That sucks.
oof.
I overshot the trampoline and missed it, and I was like,
Oof.
"Holy shit! If I don't get back here in the next like 2 or 3 runs, I'm gonna be fucking."
Yeah, it really was not that hard. It was just more like just real stupid human error in trying to like do it as fast as possible. When
I'm
does
excited for
yeah,
the
so when
speed
does the
run
DLC
DLC.
yeah, when does the DLC drop? Is that soon?
Yeah, I don't
And
think
it's
they give it a
and it's
specific date, but
free,
it's
right?
fall.
It's
Yeah,
free, right?
yeah, free. It comes with Eve, an Eve bot, and then
And
Helldivers.
Helldivers. There are 10 bots. I don't
Cool.
know, so we don't know what the other like five are. It's Eve, and then I'm pretty sure there are four Helldivers. Yeah, so that's enough on Astrobot, because we may come back around full circle with that at the end if we have time, but judging by what we've done so far, I kind of doubt it.
Not even close.
I'll probably end up writing my blog post about it this week instead, and maybe I'll try to like do it so like I'll we can maybe do like a little bit of a debate back and forth with Matt and I, and I'll like transcribe it into a blog post or something.
Battle rap blog
Yes,
post.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
I may do something like I may try to do something like that. We'll see. So
Astrobot is fun. It does do the platform.
uh, let's be clear though, that article does not say that the game is not fun. In fact, it says it is very fun and very well designed. It's more about its ethos. But okay, I digress. The only other game that I finished that's new, because I did also play BioShock Infinite in preparation for our episode next week. Folks, be on the lookout for our BioShock episode. That's our spooky game of the year.
bunch
Definitely
of
counts. There's
bitches.
definitely enough spooky stuff
Matt.
in there
In
that
the first one, there definitely is. There are definitely enough jump scares where I still remember one where like I go into a room, there's nobody there. I
there's a
hear
shadow
something.
of a dude butchering a body.
I hear something, I turn around, and then there's just a splicer just standing there at me,
Oh,
who
that's
then
the
just goes,
Houdini
"Wah!"
splicer.
And then just goes, "Wah!" Just jumps at you.
My
Uh,
my
that one
immediate
definitely got
reaction
me.
when that happened to me was I immediately just hit him with my wrench.
Yeah, oh yeah, you just wrench him to death. Okay, but yeah, so the actual newest game that I finished, because I did start another one last night on stream. Folks, check us out at
Yeah, way better
twitch.tv/campaign
already.
comrades. But was
Maybe don't
Plucky.
go watch that VOD. That might be some really choppy shit to watch.
Yeah, I didn't check the VOD to see if maybe the VOD quality is better than the stream was fucking dog shit. But Plucky Squire, I played because it was a launch title on PS Plus, so I was able to download that for no cost.
Makes
I'll
me think of Punky Brewster.
I still, which is a weird pull because that is not from our era.
I know, but it's been referenced a lot in pop culture recently and in music too. Like not even from older people. It's weird because
Yeah.
you are right.
So Plucky Squire was the new Devolver Digital published release. The storybook game, the you are the plucky squire Jot, who is a storybook character in a kid's bedroom, and he's had eventually through the
Ooh, in
villain's
a kid's
machinations
bedroom.
are able to. It's a pretty inspiring story, though. It's like that you're this you Jot have inspired this kid to become a to be basically become an artist and become an illustrator and will eventually create his own.
You have inspired this kid to forfeit his career.
Well, it's like if you let the villain do that, he will not
He'll become a
become
doctor.
yeah, instead of a successful child book author. Um, and so yeah, you through the machinations of the villain, you have the ability to jump in and out of the page and interact in the 3D world. And I just remember, I think we were almost, at least some of us were all. It's like back when we were like regularly covering the showcases, we would like stream them live, like co-stream them live. And I remember like when we first saw Plucky Squire, we were all just like, holy shit, this looks amazing. This looks incredible. Like such a cool idea, cool art style. And I'd say art styles because there's the two from the two in the 3D. And just kind of minds just rushing with, oh, how these mechanics could work and play. And it's like, storybook meets uh fucking why am I blanking on the why am I
It's from Soft. It's a Souls. It's a Souls.
it's got a dodge roll, so it is a Souls like. No, but why am I blanking on the Pixar movies? Why how is that possible?
Toy Story.
Toy Story. Like what the fuck? Why can I not think of Toy Story? What is wrong with my brain?
You know what's sad is Toy Story wasn't what immediately went to my head. It's not even a Pixar movie. I was thinking Toy Soldiers.
Is it the
That's a good
well, it's
one.
not Toy Soldiers, but I know what you're talking about.
I know what he is.
There is a game that is basically directly
Wreck-It Ralph.
Get Ralph. No. Is it Tiny Soldiers? Is that what it is? Small Soldiers.
Yeah, Small Soldiers was the movie.
Love that one.
Classic.
That's what really would happen if your toys came to life. They would
Yeah,
start a race war.
Yeah, they would start a race war. Absolutely. So I mean, it has that vibe, and so I played it on launch, and timing it worked out pretty perfectly, and it just. I have to say, I was a bit disappointed, and I think it was because my hype was too high for it. It's more like
Overhype can definitely be a problem.
It's like for this one was unique. It's like I wouldn't necessarily call it hype. It was like I just like had built up this kind of. I mean, I guess it's probably the definitions work out, but like I had built up this expectation of what it was going to do with these things. I had this different picture in my mind of how it would implement the jumping out of the book mechanic. And so it largely works in two ways. You're progressing through the storybook and you're going to come across a puzzle that needs to be solved in the book, but you're just popping out of the page. It's most often, obviously it's a storybook, any book, when you have it open, there's only 2 pages. And so it's take it that like half of the map is like blocked by an obstruction, and you got to pop out on one half and move to the other half to start doing these kind of word puzzles to change the words on them to alter the state of the world, and that will like open up the gap or close the gap between the two halves, and so you can move and fully progress. Sometimes in those puzzles you'll have to actually flip a page to go back a few pages to find something,
or on the page. That
or
was
there
actually
are
some cool interactions.
yeah, there eventually, as you go on, there are mechanics where you can tilt the pages to shift heavy objects or transpose them from one half to the other. Those are kind of cool. But so like it's those little puzzles where you're really just jumping from page to page. And then there's the other major one, and it's basically within each chapter, because it's a book, it's framed as if it's you're going through the chapters of the storybook. It's basically in each chapter you then have a major sub level within the 3D world, and it's like that the kid has completely redone the desk that your book is on, and there's like a new level, and it's got platforming challenges, or there's some stealth segments that are like kind of dog shit, but like
Do we know the age of the kid?
not explicitly, I don't think, but it's probably
I was
supposed to
going
be
to say
like
it could be
10,
immersion breaking
10.
if he was of the proper age and there weren't just like stuck together magazines and
I think it's supposed to be like 10 or so. But like it's basically like that has like completely rebuilt the desk, and there's like a, you know, a different theme that you're going through, and there is some other like would then be like kind of mini games, and those were cool. And I want to stress that those like mini levels were all good. They were all fun. I liked doing those because it's usually you're going out to get an item. It's like to get an item to bring back into the game, and it expands your arsenal. It's very almost
Got
Zelda-like in that way. That's probably its clearest indication to traditional Zelda. Uh, but you're going out, and it's like you got to get to the summit of this thing, of the desk, to of all the things that the kid has built on the desk to get this new item, and then you come back. And so it's pretty contained, right? I like kind of had this in my mind, this expectation that you were going to be able to kind of more freely explore the 3D world, that there would be more direct and more in-depth interactions. It was even the simple little things that,
you
like,
never found the secret exit where you could sneak into mom and dad's room.
you do get a trophy for trying to jump off the desk, though. But like I even had this like little thing that I get was really a pretty kind of unreasonable expectation based on the size of this is a small indie group. But like things like not enough interactivity in the 3D world. I expected the things like there's will be like buttons and pens and paints and stuff that are just like scattered around the desk that make up the kind of the landscape, and they're not interactable. Like you can't like kick the pen, you can't, you know, flip the button over. They're just there. It's just set dressing. So it was just like, I guess I had worked up in my head that there was going to be a greater scope here, and it didn't fully play out in my mind. And I ultimately left it being a little bit disappointed. Whereas if I feel like if I hadn't heard anything about it until it launched and had just jumped right in, I think I would have been way more positive. I still think it was good. I think it was fun, with the exception of I had some in the terms of this game, some significant bugs. I had several progress bugs that because of only an autosave, it would lose me anywhere from a couple to 6 or more minutes between autosaves. So that was kind of annoying. But sometimes those bugs came in because it was like I was finding and testing and pushing the boundaries of my expectation for the scope, right? Because like so one of the things you're trying to do
Mhm.
to get a trophy is like find these like hidden little creatures around the world. And one of them, it was like you go out, you do that extra level, you get this stamp thing that lets you create these bombs. Like you go out into the real world, you stamp the page, and it creates a bomb that you can explode in the book world. And it was like you needed the bomb to progress the actual story, but you also needed the bomb to go back and to flip back several pages and get that bird. It's called a glitch bird, to get this little creature. And I went to try to get the bird first rather than progressing the chapter. They are doing the progression one, and it freaked the fuck out on me. It was like, oh no, like you can't turn the page now. You're locked into the turning animation, and you gotta hard quit the game. It freaked out on me.
Hmm.
It was like that. I was like, because I just wasn't following the sequence that it had in mind. So it was a little disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. What has not been disappointing though, and I've only played 2 hours, so I won't say much about it, is fucking Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Started it on stream
Zelda
last night.
slaps.
Dude, they cooked. They cooked so fucking hard. It is so fun, so clever. Again, just hits that perfect balance of this is by no means challenging the puzzling, but it makes you feel clever, makes you feel smart that you've like seen through it and are making these little connections and putting these little things together and finding these little unique pathways. And it's been really. I was like kind of had a grin the whole time I was playing for the 2 or
Well,
2.5 hours.
you know what else Nintendo's got cooking up?
You're just you're throwing out some different transitions than we planned, but I still dig it. That's
Oh, I
good.
thought I was next, but all
No,
right.
but it works. It works. But yeah, no, our actual one, because we've already spent probably more time than we should have on this, was we were going to do our next story, which was the actual plan transition was I've been playing all of these great games. You know what's a game that I have not been playing was Star Wars Outlaws, the
Yeah,
latest
dude, Star Wars Outlaws was getting
Ubisoft
juiced
open
sales
world.
from Best Buy. They were shipping out copies to people who bought other games.
Amazing.
That's hysterical. You got that taken care of though, right?
Yeah. Doug, why would I pay $70 for an Ubisoft game?
What
Those
game were you
things go
supposed to
on
get?
sale a month after launch.
He was supposed to get it was Visions of Mana, right? That was
Yeah.
the swap.
And you're about to say, like, well, why would you pay $60 for Visions of Mana? I'd rather pay $60 for Visions of Mana than $60 for Star Wars Outlaws.
You keep saying
Dude, I'd
60,
rather pay
but it's
$60 for
70,
Visions
brother.
of Mana than fucking $20 for
I
Star
think,
Wars
but I think
Outlaws.
Mana is 60 and Outlaws is 70.
Yes, but I
Pause.
paid $60 for Mana
Yeah.
and got Outlaws.
So hey, you're getting a bargain. You're getting a bargain.
Yeah.
What are you
You already
complaining
got your
about?
deal.
Yeah.
Your discount deal.
Yeah, what are you complaining about, buddy?
I was so ready for
$10 off.
Astrobot to also be Star Wars Outlaws and for like
All
That
right.
would have been very funny.
All right, so I'm shutting
I
up
would have
now.
killed myself. Sorry, unalived myself. Is that how we say it? Not to get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of unaliving, seems like
Oh, boy.
Ubisoft might be doing that to themselves as well.
They're doing
as-
I can't you can't trust me to leave me alone, and I'm too emotional. I can't be I shouldn't be
They're
alone
calling
tonight.
friends.
Yeah, they're doing the
Shouldn't
abuse
be
of X.
alone. Yeah, it's been a bad month for Eve
Year.
and Ubisoft.
Year.
Oh, I mean, a couple of years to be honest, but they announced
How could it have been a bad year though? They released the first quadruple A game ever in Skull and Bones. It made a more $1 billion.
It shockingly did not actually make a more $1 billion, and Ubisoft announced Assassin's Creed Shadows is being delayed by approximately 3 months.
It's like
right?
it's like exactly
November,
3 months basically. It's like November 15th to February 14th.
to
So
February
basically
14th.
Exactly 3 months.
Valentine's Day. So you know what I'll be doing to celebrate the holiday, playing
Just so
Assassin's
you're
Creed
aware.
Shadows.
If the person you love buys you this game for Valentine's Day, it's a sign they don't love you.
Yeah, break up with them now.
And this announcement was bad, and now Ubisoft stock's down over 20%. As of the end of this week, they were trading at $10.48, which is just above their since inception.
Is it a decade low or more than that? I was like seeing stuff as like it was they were measuring it in terms of decades of how historic of a drop.
I think the thing I saw was
low.
like they're 80% down on last year's price at this point, 20% down in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, their lifetime high,
because they keep dropping, right? It dropped after Star Wars Outlaws released and had middling critical or a decent critical reception, but yeah, a soft fart from the fans. And then yeah, with this latest announcement, it dropped again. So it's just like precipitous fall off after another.
And it's been going on for a long time now. Their all-time highs 2019, they were just under $100 a share. They got
that was Assassin's Creed Origins.
I believe so.
Or
yes.
The next one was it the Greek one?
Valhalla. No. It's
Whatever
came
Valhalla
before
was after
Valhalla.
2020.
Yeah, Valhalla's 2020. Nothing came after Valhalla other than Mirage.
Before.
before is Odyssey. It's Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage.
Yeah, so Odyssey.
They're high came riding Odyssey.
Yeah, so they're riding Odyssey. They hit COVID. Their stock drops a little bit,
Odyssey
and
was
then bumps back up.
2018. Odyssey was 2018.
Okay. Then 2019 was their off year. That was when they did their 2-year hiatus.
Wow. Your best year as a company financially is when you didn't
You
release,
didn't release a
annual
major
franchise.
tentpole franchise. Amazing stuff.
Hilarious. And so then, but essentially since then, they've just gone straight down over the last 4 years, losing a huge amount of value, going from essentially $80 a share in 22 to now 10 in 2024. So
That's insane.
It's been a bad time at Ubisoft, but the board is investigating. The board is investigating.
That's what I want to talk about. Andrew, what do you take of like the conspiracy hat bit of like that this has been a concerted effort to drop the stock price by the Guillaume brothers?
Yeah, we will get to that. We will get to that. I
totally buy into that because
I just want to lay
the French sickos would do something like that.
Dude, we will get to that because that investor article letter, it's a letter. That investor letter is so beautiful for so many reasons.
I would call that an open threat more than just a letter.
Yeah, sure. Threat via letter.
Are we in danger?
It's a memo.
No,
it's a memo.
No, it's just the implications.
Yeah, it's just the implication there. But anyways, let me set the rest of the stage. So the board's investigating Ubisoft as a company. They want to be more efficient. They don't understand why certain decisions have been made. So the board's already doing that. On top of that, you have terrible stock performance, poor financials, a pretty significant adjustment to their forecasted revenues for the next year. So financials are bad. Then you also have their employees in France going on strike over a mandatory 3-day work week in the office, as they've been working remotely since COVID. So they have this ongoing strike in France. And then you have, lastly, as Ben has alluded to, and Matt as well, this investor letter, aka threat to try and get rid of the Guillemot brothers, who are the syndicate apparently running Ubisoft. And Ben, yes, this letter has some incredible assertions on behalf of this investor. And he has some bars. Juraj Krupa from the hedge fund AJ Investments.
They like Slovakian.
He's got some bars.
Are they Slovakian? It's like some
Slovakian.
It's like some Eastern European. Also, I mean these are just like
for a fact he's a big fan of Luka.
These are just like private equity like sickos themselves, right? But like still, what they're saying here is pretty funny.
Yeah, no,
they're not the heroes that we
private equity
we want.
Slovakian.
Yeah.
No, and that's what the article says, that from this article is from Rock Paper Shotgun and Edwin Evans Thurwell, who at the end of it summarizes it pretty well in saying that this is all sort of Alien versus Predator, except that Alien and the Predator are cool movie monsters rather than angry suits fighting for the biggest chunk of $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what's happening.
It's more akin to Freddy versus Jason, a nightmare monster versus an undead, never dying entity.
Yeah, who's who in that situation?
That's for you to decide.
Yeah,
I'm just not having,
for you, the listener.
I'm not having Alien versus Predator besmirched on this podcast. What a fantastic movie.
So but Mr. Krupa comes with some bars and says the main reason why valuation is so low compared to peers is that, I'm summarizing slightly, is that Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the Guillemot family members in Tencent who take advantage of them. Management's focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for gamers. He then goes on to say, and this is where I was a fan. We cannot understand the decision-making process of current management that is focused on releasing multiple average games per year that are harming Ubisoft's reputation among gamers community instead of focusing to provide hit games within its exceptional portfolio. They
At
then
least
go
someone
on to list
professionally said it finally. Y'all release
yeah, no, exactly.
average games so no one wants to fucking play them.
He's like, you guys are releasing slop.
Why would I play your slop when I've got good games that I could be playing and spending my time on that are also releasing in the same time period?
But the implication, right, is that the Guillaumes are purposefully driving the price down to be able to basically buy back stock.
So I'll get to that.
Retain control, right? Because you have to appreciate the history of Ubisoft and the Guillaumes struggle to maintain control over this and to fight against what were hostile takeover attempts. Like, what was the French? I mean, it was another French thing, but like that tried to do that years and years ago, and then like Tencent kind of saved their ass a couple years ago by like they invested in the Guillaume holding company or whatever rather than Ubisoft.
No, exactly. Tencent helped the Guillemot family buy more shares of Ubisoft. And so yeah, this is where it gets interesting is that Krupa in AJ investments. Go ahead.
All I was going to say is if you're struggling and Tencent is the company who says they're going to come help you,
run away.
That's like if Raid Shadow Legends comes to your channel, it's like, hey, we'll sponsor you. And you're like, oh yeah, thank you, please. Oh my God. Like that should be such a red flag to anyone.
And they come and say, Ubisoft is essentially preventing future acquisitions or takeovers and being brought private by running a bad shop and making the financials look poorly so that the Guillemot, I don't give a fuck, the French fucks can buy more of their own company. Which is a hilarious assertion that I honestly, Ben, as you said earlier, I think is probably a fair thing to potentially state. Like,
I totally buy that. I 100% buy that because
I buy it too. How
do you do things like, sink that much money into fucking Skull and Bones? Call it the first quadruple A game. Do all these things. Like none of their franchises are hitting. Say like the last Far Cry was a disappointment. X Defiant is losing players.
X Defiant isn't just losing players. X Defiant is like the definition of we paid a bunch of streamers for 1 month to make this game look fun. And the second that the check stopped cashing, they went right back to playing what they were before. And no one cares about this game anymore.
Mm-hmm. And AJ goes on to also say, they let big name franchises like Rayman, Splinter Cell, Watch Dogs all go untouched for years. So this is granted,
I think Watch Dogs is a franchise that probably should just die at this point because, man, they haven't been fun since Watch Dogs 1.
Fair. But yeah, so it's a beneficial thing to both the Guillemots and Tencent to keep the price low so they can just further consolidate their ownership of Ubisoft, which is, they think, calculated roughly around 25%. The AJ Investors believes that they have enough other minority shareholders to force the Guillemot family out. So that's going to be a fun little legal battle that we probably will see on the horizon. But what I also love about this letter is that Krupa then goes on to say that the company needs to implement significant cost reductions in staff optimization to improve operational efficiency.
So again, how you know that he's the villain? He's also a villain. It's just like, exactly, the way we fix this is by firing everybody.
Firing everyone. No, you're spending too much money. They're making games that suck. We just need to cut the workforce in half and make maybe one game to recoup all of our costs. Thank you. Like, they just want to fire people.
Also tell from a business standpoint, like you pointed out a little earlier in this discussion, where the employees strike about the work week change. I guarantee you there's someone out there doing the business sense being like, huh, we were at an all-time high in 2019, and then people started working remotely and it just started fucking tanking. It's like that is absolutely going to be an argument that they make in that discussion, and it's true.
I mean, absolutely. They'll talk about, how it's better for their culture and shit like that. Like we know what their talking points will be there. It's the same as like Amazon going to a mandatory in-person full day
Yes,
work
except
week.
this one, we at least have a tangible like number thing they can point at and be like, look, before you all started working at home, we were worth this much. You all started working at home and now we're worth nothing. Clearly, it's your fault.
Their marketing is also just fucking ass backwards, I want to say, because like they've actually put out a couple really good games that have, failed to meet financial expectations because they don't fucking market them or market them in incredibly stupid ways. The two that come to mind are the Mario and Rabbids sequel, which I played and was a fucking phenomenal game. And the guy behind those games just left because fuck Ubisoft, get him out of there as soon as possible, off to bigger and better things, I hope. And then the recent Prince of Persia one, we were talking about that earlier too.
Yeah, Prince of Persia.
That's like the best game that they've put out
Absolutely.
in a long
terribly.
time, and marketed like dog shit to the point where it was first released. People are like, "What the fuck is this game? What is this tone that they're going for?"
The funniest aspect of it is their most financially successful game of late was the Avatar Far Cry game.
And that even wasn't very good. Again, was not
that one wasn't marketed all that much, considering it's a fucking like huge IP.
Not marketed anywhere near as much as Outlaws was.
Yeah.
And it's on similar kind of playing field, right, as these
Yeah.
two major licensed properties.
Yeah.
I think the Avatar one is a
The
little
Outlaws
bit
marketing was
because
obnoxious.
it's
The amount of fucking
it's because
paid
Avatar
for
was
ads I
in such
saw.
a weird spot because of how the movies had ended up playing out with delays and stuff. They
And
couldn't
like
do
I'm sure
tie-ins.
Disney put some money behind the marketing and forced Ubisoft to do certain things that, Avatar.
I also think
whoever
there's a
owns
little
that
bit of a
wasn't doing.
split there with like
Disney
Star
owns
Wars
Fox,
might be a
who
legacy
owns- who
IP with a
owns
huge fan
Avatar.
base.
So
But
Avatar is also a Disney property now.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
true. All right. That's I didn't know who owned
the IP with a pretty
was
large
Fox, and
dedicated fan
now it's
base
Disney.
who has been shit on pretty hard in the past, I don't know, 5 years or so of like Star Wars releases. So there's a lot of Star Wars apathy that's already existing. Where it's like you can't just be like, "Hey guys, new Star Wars game coming out. You excited? You want to play as character you've never heard of?"
I mean, I think this could have been interesting. It's just every complaint that I heard about it from like actual,
It's a
critical,
stealth game.
non like culture war bullshit stuff was that it was a scope problem, whereas they tried to do too many things in the game, so pretty much all its elements were undercooked. So yeah, its stealth was bad. Its combat, I guess you'd say middling at best. Its combat was not great. There's weird exploration things like fucking there's unnecessary like Uncharted type or style climbing sections. The reputation system, while a cool idea, did not reach a depth that was satisfying. That just they had too many cooks, too many things going on, and
I've seen some pretty funny
not enough
footage
depth
of someone crouching in a corner and stormtroopers walking in alerted that they're there, doing a full 360, looking at them in the corner and going, nothing here, and then ending the alarm and walking away.
Dunna must have been the wind type of thing. Yeah.
Well, and ultimately the issue that Ubisoft has that we've talked about before is they've not made any improvements on a formula that is now over a decade old. In like all of their
the funny
major
part is
releases,
other companies have made the improvements on their formulas.
I will say, I will maybe push back a little bit on that, in that some of these recent ones, the few bits that I would say people will claim that they have made some improvements, but that because of their failures, so to speak, they will not learn the correct lessons, is that they have iterated a bit on their kind of open world systems, like the progression system in Outlaws, where you're not like just like unlocking towers and gaining XP and doing shit like that. You've got to find real people in the world who are experts in this particular thing, and that it folds in the classic kind of bullshit Ubisoft checklist type thing, but it incorporates it in a new way. Whereas you go and you meet this person, they give you these tasks that you need to complete, but they're all tied to the thing. Like, you need to get this number of headshots and you'll get better at your blaster. You need to win some ship combat and you'll be able to expand your ship parts or components or things like that. They have these things, and like what would have normally been just bullshit brain dead side quest type activity in an old Ubisoft model, and now it is more directly tied into a more kind of natural progression thing. So that was a interesting improvement on the formula, but just because again of these scope issues, that things weren't fleshed out enough, that it just ultimately falls flat, and so that they're not going to take these lessons learned in their previous things. They're just going to go back to what quote unquote worked well. Which is why I think Assassin's Creed Shadows is probably going to be fucking dog shit. Like, do we want to talk about the delay and what's going on there? Because I know Matt had seen some more rumors and stuff going on.
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
If we'll give Reset Era and 4chan a little bit of legitimacy here from people who've seen or have knowledge of the workings of the game right now, the game is done, but it is such a buggy disaster right now that releasing it would be legitimate suicide for the company.
It's quote unquote feature
Really?
complete.
Yes.
So but they want to push it because of lessons that they are trying to learn from the soft reactions to
How
Outlaws.
can it be so broken? Did they change? Aren't they still in the same engine they've done the past ones in? Like, I don't even understand that.
But bugs don't necessarily always attribute to engine. There can be bugs related to the actual game design and development itself, where you could say have something that is interactable because the engine says it is, but when you do, it causes the game to crash. Or you could have it where you're talking to someone and then the dialogue doesn't properly switch in between lines and gets stuck in a loop.
Do you think there's something there with like what that just made me think of was the whole dual protagonist ambition thing, where it's not that like it's scripted in the sense of you play this chapter as this person, where it's basically you can play any chapter in this game as either protagonist, meaning that all of the quote unquote scripted stuff is incredibly vague and generic, and or when it tries to be specific tied to the particular character, it freaks the fuck out and doesn't remember who is who and who's supposed to be there, and like
every interaction
it gives Nawe a Yasuke response or vice versa
/ other person.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so, like, continually misgenders you.
Yeah, that it's weird stuff like that. I know that's not their first time doing a dual protagonist, because I never played this one, but they did that in Syndicate. And it was a similar kind of style where it was a brother and sister, that the brother was more of a bruiser and the sister was the more stealth based assassin. But I could be wrong and completely speaking out of my ass, but as Matt joked earlier, we're totally fine with spreading misinformation about Ubisoft and Ubisoft games, that like those may have been scripted. Like that, like you play X chapter as this character and the next as the other.
I'm pretty sure they were, because there's another Assassin's Creed, I forget which one it is. It might be Revelations, where you play as Ezio sometimes and the main character of Revelations for most of it, but the like Ezio ones are scripted.
Actually, you play as two characters in every Assassin's Creed, because you play as the guy in the
as Desmond, as Desmond.
Yeah. It's a different person in the new games.
Yeah,
dude, it's a fucking mess over there.
Yeah, Ubisoft. Long story short, Ubisoft, bad place to be.
Nah,
They
dude, this is the
are
time to
good.
invest in Ubisoft stock. It can't really go much lower, right?
Hell, invest in them just to fuck over. Like, does it fuck over the Guillaume brothers if you try to drive the price up at this point?
God, we
Make
got to
them a
get the Wall
meme
Street
stock.
Bets
Yeah,
subreddit.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say they're gonna become the next GameStop.
Yeah, we got to get Wall Street Bets to work on this.
The unfortunate thing there, though, is that also benefits them because
Hey, that's
it
what I was
makes
just gonna
them
say.
richer.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it doesn't actually. It may foil their plans, but who knows? Maybe
Oh
it
no, you
allows them to
foiled
be
our
bought
plan
out.
by giving us more money.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Speaking of money,
I said money and all the legal fucking bullshit that's
Yeah.
going on. There's your Nintendo transition.
there you go. So Nintendo, man. So we're gonna be talking about the Palworld lawsuit, but we're gonna go back to basics right quick. And I know that our American listeners and our Malaysian listeners will not understand the Japanese legal system at its base because it's very different than ours. So just high
Very
level.
protective of IP in Japan.
Well, it's not even
Particularly
that. Just
because
like
of
the
Nintendo. Like
base
Nintendo
level.
is like the backbone of the fucking Japanese economy.
But I'm talking even different than the
It's a
actual
different
like
judiciary system.
it's just a completely different legal system. Whereas we have an adversarial common law system, Japan has a inquisitorial civil legal system. So, if we have listeners in
Nobody expects
Louisiana,
the Japanese Inquisition.
yeah,
Inquisitors.
I mean, we didn't on whatever date Pearl Harbor was, and then they didn't expect whatever our
December
response
7th.
was on August
Yeah.
5th, 1945.
Yeah. That's funny that you know the date of the atomic bomb dropping, but not of Pearl Harbor.
Well, that's just
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
most recent the video I sent.
We
where it
won't
was-
examine that.
Yeah.
No, it was literally explicitly stated in the video I sent most
It's-
recently, talking
it's
about
a
yeah,
Mazda.
the
Saturday.
guy you said the CEO of Mazda a birthday present, a big firework on his birthday. Yeah, that was a good one.
Is because
Hiroshima, Japan, August 5th, 1945.
Matt,
Oh,
Matt, as a truly cultured person, knows which day is sadder.
Yeah.
that is true.
That's
Yeah.
But so just quickly, and our Louisiana listeners, if we have any, may be the only Americans familiar with the civil legal system because they have it there. The inquisitorial civil legal system.
Not to be mean, but I don't think most of the people in Louisiana know how to listen or hear or read. So
Fair. So, in our system, you have two lawyers, one on each side, who are using past case law to make arguments and using statutes to make arguments, but it's all based on precedent, and it's again an adversarial
I
system.
represent myself exclusively in court, and I never use precedent. I just finger point and yell at people.
I mean, that welcome to housing court in New York City. So in the civil legal system, it's again inquisitorial, so it's more like our arbitration system in America, where it's not adversarial. It's the lawyer on each side presenting their evidence, their facts, and then it's the judge doing their inquiry.
Doing the inquiring. Yeah.
And using rather than statutes that are like very detailed and pages and pages long, it's similar to their codes that they use are similar to like our constitution, where it's just like vague general principles that the judge is then working from. So
I just want to say I love that Louisiana continued their French
Yep.
tradition, and
exactly that's
way
it.
cooler.
So civil law was it's a Roman construct that got carried through in Europe, largely through France and like Napoleon.
Just none of us sicko Anglos.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Lost Matt. Us sicko Anglos. We like the English common law, and that's what America comes from. So Japan's got their civil law, and now Nintendo is using the legal system in Japan to sue Palworld. And there's been a lot of misinformation around this, largely because Americans are stupid. And
If I read one more fucking Reddit post about, oh my god, they're copying Pokemon monsters and that's what they're fucking
I'm
suing
I'm
about.
nodding sagely as if I am not also a fucking idiot.
yeah, we're just slightly smarter idiots. But yeah, so as Matt pointed out, like people are just stuck on this notion that it is because it's the obvious thing that they could see.
It's copyright. It's not copyright.
The Pokemon or the pals in Pal World look similar to Pokemon. We are stuck in copyright in video games. That's what people typically go to rather than patents. Patents, aren't necessarily at issue all the time in American video games. It's more so the copyrighted IP material. So Nintendo, because there's better patent protections in Japan, are using that to go after Palworld, another Japanese company, to go after the patents or like trademarks on not the copyrighted IP of the Pokemon.
We don't actually know what specific patent they're suing over.
Yes, and that's another thing that was weird about like the Japanese system compared to ours is like even their complaint that they've I guess filed by now isn't as specified as it would be in the American legal system. In the American legal system, you would, especially with patents and trademarks, you have to make your pleadings have to be very specific for what your claim is.
Is there any standard in the U.S. where, under a similar circumstance of like, claiming for like patent infringement, that the accused would be informed of what patent they're infringing upon? Because one thing that we've seen is that Pocket Pair has no idea. They're like, we have no idea what,
and that's exactly
nobody
what
has
saying.
Told us what we are supposedly have infringed on.
Nintendo's, at this point, I assume filed the complaint. When Palworld first spoke out, the complaint hadn't been like served on them yet or whatever. Like Nintendo announced it even before like it was officially gotten to Palworld. Again, I don't know what the service process is in Japan, how that works, whatever. But yeah, in America, you would have to be like patent number XYZ GH12345 whatever.
We love that. We love the patent office. We love them.
Yeah, and like even a trademark or a copyright type thing, you have to have some sort of specificity to say that that it's the copyright for Campaign Comrades, the trademark for Campaign Comrades is what was violated or infringed upon. So there has been speculation that it's a Pokeball patent.
Yeah, the amount of people who've been digging through the patent archives be like, what could they have possibly infringed upon through here?
And so people are speculating.
What is the catching mechanic like in Digimon?
There is no catching mechanic like that. It's a data.
Yeah.
So instead of throwing a Pokeball at a Digimon, you encounter them and you record a raw amount of their data per encounter. And once you hit 100% data encounter, you now have the Digimon.
There you go.
So I think it's it's specifically the patent and like throwing mechanic from Arceus, I believe, because that is the only one that's similar to PALs, where like you are the third person, player, where it's like outside of battle and shit, you could just toss a ball. Just like in Arceus, you could sneak up, toss a ball without engaging in a battle and like weakening it or whatever. So that's what people are speculating. That's the most recent patent, and it's something that is within those two games.
The speculation on that one gets a little bit of credence, just because the games in the same genre.
Creedence Clearwater Revival starts playing.
CCR, everyone loves it. But what I was saying is that games in that genre that have avoided the Nintendo lawsuit don't use balls, for one. So you have like Cassette Beast, which use their cassettes. I think one game uses cubes instead of spheres.
That
So
could be an
that could
easy fix. That could be an easy fix, but I don't quite understand
Well, so
why
there
they
is
would go.
speculation from Palworld and or it's just like people speculating that it is something fixable that they could just change in the game and like make this move. Because if it is just this Pokeball throwing like patent mechanic, specifically from Arceus, just fucking change it. And as long as you're not making it similar to whatever patent they have on the fucking Pokeball throwing mechanic, it's not that it's a Pokeball, not that it's necessarily a ball. It's like the patent for the mechanic of like throwing that ball and catching it, within the game.
the
So
other games specifically are all 2-dimensional games that don't have any of that additional third person.
What's
yep.
weird to me, if it's something like that that is easily changeable, with what we know about the track record of Nintendo's legal team type of thing, is I don't think that they would make such a claim on something that is so easily
I mean, they
fixable. Like that they
definitely
would only,
waited to
but
get a
but
strong
basically
legal
that they
argument.
would only do it on something that would have a strong impact,
But
right?
so there's a couple of articles I was reading.
Or that would at least
If I can
force it
find them
to
now.
fully differentiate itself, because it's like they don't like it because it's like yeah, their legal basis, yes, it's infringing upon our patent, but we do it because we do these things because we are so protective of our IP, and why we're targeting you is not because we feel the need to protect this patent, but because we think that you are harming our brand by people basically saying you're Pokemon with guns, so that they want something that could have a significant impact that would either ultimately take it down or to change it so dramatically that people would stop making that comparison.
So
Otherwise, I don't know why Nintendo would do this.
but the one piece that we're
Just to be
missing
petty.
and
Just to be petty.
well, the one piece that we're missing is I don't know, we don't know the intricacies of Japanese patent law. So like for example, in America, and Ben, what you were just speaking of was kind of the um the American calculus, whereas you have like the affirmative duty to protect your copyright, or you don't, you lose the copyright essentially. So if you're not out there like protecting your brand, taking affirmative actions, filing suits, it can't be a frivolous suit. It has to have some sort of merit, and there obviously is some here. In this case, if it were in the American scheme, um, you have to go out and protect it in the American scheme. I have no clue what those kind of like public policy, larger softer legal considerations are within the Japanese
There's
law.
also the little bit where it's like I don't think Nintendo's ever lost a lawsuit in
No, they
Japanese
have.
court.
They've brought some intellectual property suits, and you might not even fucking see them because they might get settled earlier on, or whatever, dismissed. And because I was reading, I'm trying to find it, that they have, like, they've done this in the past. They're not always suing on something that is a guaranteed win, and they don't necessarily have to, because they are working within the American legal system at some level. So like even just for that non-legal brand protection that Ben was kind of alluding to, like it's good for them to bring this suit. It gets media attention, whether it's good or bad, doesn't fucking matter. Like, I was pointing out to Ben, there's some quotes like, can the tension of the family-friendly nice guys and the we sue everyone and sent a disabled person to jail really continue existing in perpetuity? So the disabled person going to jail is reference to Gary Bowser.
That's what I was about to say. We know they're litigious.
Yeah. So like, but this is going on forever. This is
It's also
not
like
something
why
new.
they are how they are and why they are as successful as they are.
Exactly, and they have the money to do it. They basically are Japan, like and so who knows, even if they don't have the most solid fucking legal argument for this protection, who knows the politics of
Yeah,
the
the
Japanese legal
institutional power
system.
that they
Yeah,
can
the
wield
institutional
against
power, the
against an
Yeah.
indie studio.
Yep, and just again, Nintendo is a huge portion of that economy. Like there's connections running deep that we have no fucking clue about. We're not.
They also have
And-
the Japanese public on their side, from what I've seen.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that
Yeah,
most of the
and we
people
may
in
be
Japan are
weeaboos,
siding with
but we're
Nintendo
not.
in this.
we don't know Japanese law,
Yeah,
or Japanese politics at that level.
Yeah, I was also gonna say just culturally the might of Nintendo,
Yeah.
even without the financial might, the cultural might of Nintendo is.
So it doesn't matter. Like the Palworld made a ton of money. It's right. They did it right around the release of the PS5 version. So like, this was all good like PR
I've seen the joke that they didn't care when it
timing.
released an early access for Xbox and PC because it just doesn't matter in Japan.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So like it had good timing on the PS5
Imagine
release.
them trying to get that ported to Switch though, to try to get them to put that game on Nintendo hardware. That would be hilarious. That would be so
And
funny.
honestly, maybe they tried to, and it went south, and that's what happened. Part of why they brought the lawsuit. We don't know those back end dealings, and probably never will.
That would be so funny.
There's also a weird game that it's technically not fully released. It's still one of those like shitty
No,
permanently early access titles.
thought
I mean, it's only been in early access for less than a year. It was January.
Yeah, I just hate early access.
I
think
do
it's
too. I tend to not
I
as
thought
well.
it was
If
out of early
if
access.
if it goes for a year, then if it goes for a year or less, I'm totally cool with it. When you start getting past like a year and a half, I'm
I
like,
mean, it's just a means
"Oh."
of riding a hype cycle twice, where you can be like, "Hey, we're releasing a game in early access," and then like a year and a half later, be like, "Hey guys, we're releasing the game really this time."
Yeah. No, you'll never catch me playing a game in early access. Not
I
gonna
played
happen.
in early access.
Well, you played this in early
Yeah,
access. You
that's what
put
I'm
like
saying. I played
70,
this in
80
early.
hours in or more into this.
Yeah, man, it's a fucking survival game. You're fucking hop
Yeah,
uh
that is
chopping away.
exactly why I will
Yeah.
never play this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
They,
No,
they
it's an
market it
endless
so
game.
heavily as a monster collection game, but it's
It's
actually
not.
just another bullshit survival crafting game.
It's a
That is
survival crafting game
even
with
though it's
monsters.
where I'll never play it. That's where I do find the funny bits of like you catch all the monsters and put them to work in a factory. That is
Yep.
pretty funny, and I do like
And they get
the
sick.
commentary there.
They break legs and shit. You got to replace them. You got to fucking manage their health. It's fucking like Farmville plus Pokemon on steroids. With fucking
Manage their health. If they die, they die. That's
And
what I say.
if they die, they go and they get turned into meats instead. I saw somebody do that. Like, yeah, they had like the sheep ones doing all these things, and if one was like got hurt or something, it just went into the slaughterhouse.
yeah,
Got turned
Like-
into wool and meat.
like that shit. And even to like level up your Pokemon and level up yourself or your pals.
But don't get our fucking
See, there you
podcast
go.
sued.
There you go.
Done. Owned.
It takes a long time.
Knock at my door.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So there was, I don't know the provenance of it or like, how good of a source it is, but I saw somewhere in one article that one like an Palworld worker was saying that they were told to like ape off of Pokemon designs. Again, that's not the issue in the suit. But yeah, the fucking pals do look very similar to a lot of Pokemon. That's pretty fucking obvious.
You had mentioned obviously, yeah, the current thing is that it just had a release on PS5, although that is permanently on hold in Japan.
Yes, only in Japan though.
So yeah, what else of news did we get with PlayStation 5 and we did have a Sony State of Play. We forgot about that too. We didn't even like mention that as a possible discussion point.
I mean, we mentioned the only real important part out of that with Ghost of Yotai.
Mm.
We'll soon learn how it's actually pronounced, but yeah, dude. I mean, that's a callback, right? To we didn't actually mention it though. Yeah, people like joking that that announcement trailer has got Ubisoft shook. That they're like, oh boy,
When Andrew was like,
a better stealth game in Japan. Oh no.
Well, it was when he's like, they haven't improved on their mechanics, and I said that other companies have. It's because Ghost of Tsushima improved on the Ubisoft open world.
Yeah, made an
100%.
actual good Assassin's Creed game.
Truly. Truly, they're
I've
gonna
I've
have their lunch eaten by
I've
by
I've
that.
I've moved that up now here on my shelf that has my two play games. That's next.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that Metaphor ReFantazio is about to eat my fucking.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by next is by my next free open time with the PlayStation, which won't be until after Metaphor. So Matt, what's going on with
I was gonna say,
PlayStation?
were you trying to transition me to
I
the
was.
It was a
PS5 Pro?
I was. I
I knew
was.
it.
What's going on? What's going on with PlayStation?
So earlier this month, Sony announced the not exactly the world's most secretive mid-gen upgrade of the PS5 Pro. Something that's been rumored for about 2 years now, which then when they released, when the development cycle release happened, it's like, hey, look, development cycle Trinity. I remember reading about Trinity 2 years ago.
Think they call it
Did
Trinity
us.
because of the 3 lines that are running through it,
I mean, maybe. I mean, there could be a whole bunch
or
of
the
reasons why it's called
30th, or because
Trinity.
it's the 30th anniversary and all that.
But that was the code name it was used under for development, but that had a bunch of leaks surrounding it a couple years ago. But yeah, we got the PS5 Pro, the mid-gen upgrade for Sony. Notably not getting any competition on the Xbox side, as they are
They're
skipping
done with
mid-gen upgrade.
consoles.
Well, no.
I mean,
What was their whole thing? Is that we've already released our Pro, our
Yeah,
our
yeah.
Pro version. The X
that's
is
a real
our
bad
Pro
response,
version.
by the way. Like,
Oh, that's
our Pro
horrible.
version is just a little bit more powerful than their base model. Not exactly the
Yeah.
flex they thought it was.
No, it was trying to say like, yeah,
Well,
S
it's just
the S is our baseline model, a dog shit thing that's making development impossible for for our platform.
So there was
right.
in a slight tangent, there was a rumor about Tokyo Game Show and how all of the Final Fantasies were going to be coming, including remake Rebirth 16.
Yeah.
And then when they weren't announced, people were like, oh my god, it's so unfair. It's like, dude, could you imagine 16 trying to run on a Series S?
Oh boy.
It's like it would be fucking
Well,
720p,
Literally,
20 frames per second.
literally, yeah. What they'd have to do is like remove all interactivity from the icon fights, and it's literally just a pre-rendered cutscene.
it's I mean, the towards the end of this console life cycle, when games are being built like to push the
Explicitly for
limits,
yeah.
to push the limits of the Pro, they're just not Xbox isn't getting any of those.
Yeah,
They're not going to be
good
on
luck
the
playing
Xbox.
GTA 6 on your Series S.
Turn that thing into a tactical nuke.
You get a Series S for like $75. It's crazy.
Probably used, maybe.
I mean, yeah, but still, like,
I'm just thinking because, like, I think
Yeah.
the cheapest I've seen them bundled for like a Black Friday was, I think, 175.
here, we're gonna look right now.
But I mean, there's layers to this. I don't want to get into a like, oh, Microsoft versus Sony argument right now because like that's been a fun one where people are like, hey, Xbox released a 2 terabyte just a Series X with no disk drive for $600,
Yeah.
and
5 GB.
PlayStation's releasing a Pro model without a disk drive and 2 terabytes, an actual power upgrade for 700.
So GameStop. Is this used? Nope.
GameStop isn't a real company.
Oh no, it's pre-owned. Yeah, pre-owned.
I'm still fucking
50
pissed
for
at
150.
GameStop. I bought some used games online
500.
and they sent me one
In a blank disc.
They sent me one in one of these.
Yeah, but you could just print out
And
the fucking thing.
No, because it's not even the real box. No, I bought a real box on eBay for like $8.
Yeah. But not to get too sidetracked here, we're talking PS5 Pro. So I've mentioned one of the sticking points already, $700. That was a sticker shock for a lot of people.
The sticking point for me is the fact that that's not actually the price, right?
I mean, it is.
It is if you are going digital only, because the one that really does bother me is the fact that the stand is not included, right? Because it was in the base model, that was in the
admittedly,
box.
The base
Yeah.
model stand was
Yeah.
shit.
It's not good, but I still use it. It's still on mine. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's like I mean, it works best when it's upright because you can actually
The
fucking screw
reason
it
it
in.
was
But like,
shit
I don't have
is
a
from a
stand.
design standpoint.
no, because they
Sorry,
stopped. No,
let the engineer flow.
they
You
stopped
can't
doing that.
have
Yeah.
something be universal for two different stand types,
Right,
horizontal
right.
and vertical, and have it be good at either of
You
them.
would lose the stando power. Yeah, for when you do it horizontal, it's dog shit.
No, it's absolute shit if you try to do it horizontal. Your PS5 is not supported by anything but 2 friction clips, and it
yeah,
is
it's
the
gonna
most terrifying thing.
you shake it a little bit, it's gonna slip right off. But yeah, no, Mike, yours didn't come with it because yours is of the newer development.
Yeah,
So
you
that,
have the
yeah,
slim.
which will have the same
Yeah,
stand.
the slim had the exact same setup as the pro, where it has a model without a disk drive, without the stand, and a model with the disk drive and the stand. That's the one where I think it's a little funny, where people are like, well, it doesn't have the disk drive, I'm not buying it. It's like, so you would buy it if they sold an $800 version with a disk drive included? Is like, I don't believe that argument. I think that's a little bit of like,
See, for me, I would feel better if it was there and it had the stand included at no extra cost. If it was 700 with the stand and yeah, because I'm with you in terms of I like the idea of replaceable disk drives because those
yeah,
are the things
that's actually a
that
pretty
always
good
get
jump.
fucked up. That happened to me on my PS4. The machine worked okay, although it was chugging by the very end. But
Well, that
the
PS4
disk
was
drive,
also
the
inundated with cigar smoke.
correct. So, but like the laser died so quickly.
Yeah.
I said the laser stopped working about
I mean,
like
that's a historical
halfway
issue
through
with disk
the
drives. The
right.
original copy of the PS1, the first one, had a notorious issue because the laser module was right next to the power supply, and the power supply would overheat the laser
Yeah,
module and it would stop working.
get
And
nice and
people's
toasty.
solution to this problem was using their PS1 upside down. They
Nice.
would flip the console over so that the power supply's heat dissipation would go out the bottom instead of convecting out through the laser module.
Hysterical. We love it. But like so yeah, I am absolutely for having having a replaceable drive so you don't have to replace a full console if the laser goes busted. Absolutely. I'm 100%
Yes.
about that. That is
Yeah,
great.
my
That is
point was just that the people who think that's the only sticking point, it's like, well, if they had a disk drive, I would buy it. It's like, so if they had an $800 version, you'd buy it if it came with a disk drive. I don't believe you, because like
but it's
the
just that
issue is the cost for most people.
I will
Yeah.
say, as much as I didn't like,
Yeah, you ragged on it, and then you bought it before
I
me.
still don't like the cost. The Demon came out and was like, was in the queue, waiting for like the special edition things to came out, and I'm just like,
Side tangent. I was so close. I had it in my cart. I had my payment info in there. I was ready, hitting the place my order button, and it stopped working.
it booted him back out to
Oh,
the
that's
queue. Yeah, tragic.
No, it didn't boot me out initially. It booted me
I
out
thought
once
it
the
did.
page timed out because I couldn't do anything on it.
It's a bummer.
There was a little bit of cope where I was like, maybe I'll just open my account and there'll be a charge, and I'll get an email that it went through anyway because I was spamming the place my order button.
No, I am a coward and a hypocrite, and I did go and buy it.
It's
But
still widely available too, by the way.
yeah,
I'd
I
like
mean,
to point that out for everyone whose initial fear was, oh my god, they're going to do an artificial scarcity and just try to like turn these into a super scalped console.
it still
My
is.
argument there being the only thing that's ever going to get scalped will be disk drives.
Yeah, the only I could justify it to myself now in that like my base model PS5 is still in pretty good condition, right? I'll probably give it a clean or whatever, and then I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell it either. Apparently, I was like, I didn't go searching for it. Actually, my algorithm predicted this for me. It showed me a video of someone doing like a selling guide for
Yeah.
PS5 and had done a bunch of research, and there's a few I want to look
I
more
think
into,
Sony
but
Direct
like
was doing 350 trade-ins at one point.
which was who was?
Sony Direct.
Well, but that was the only thing that they have information for is trading in a PS4 for a PS5. They don't have information on trading in a PS5.
And I'm pretty sure GameStop was offering 375.
GameStop's is actually pretty good. yeah, obviously they give you almost $100 more if you take store credit.
It's a
but yeah,
trap, folks. Don't take the GameStop store credit. You're going to be
um,
buying Funko Pops.
of the ones that I saw, because I didn't watch the whole video, I was watching it in the dentist, in the dentist waiting room on mute with subtitles, so I was just kind of skipping through. But yeah, GameStop was actually one of the best, and it's like, yeah, between $200 and $300. I am gonna try to sell it to
Oh.
our local independent game store, to see what price he could give me, but I'll ask them first. But
Can't even
I,
trade it in on Best Buy yet. It's only
no,
PS4 Pro.
you can do Best Buy. So this guy Best Buy is worse, but this guy had to go and basically he had to lie to a Best Buy employee to get them to tell him the information. It is not freely or publicly available what any trade-in information was. He had to go
And
and this guy
what
had to go
happened to
in
the
and do
Best Buy
some.
I grew up with, the Best Buy that I supported actively for many years?
Yeah. So,
But we haven't even really touched on the major the actual upgrades that go into the PS5 Pro. We've talked on the pricing, we've talked on what's included in the kit, we've talked about that stuff. What we're talking about is a raw 67% upgrade in compute modules in the GPU. So you're looking at massive upgrade in what you can actually render and the speed of render that's coming out of the PS5 Pro.
who
You're
was it
looking at 20
that said that it did compare
a
to a
4070.
4070? Yeah, which is an upgrade from my PC, right? So
Yeah.
that was also I was
It
like,
would blow
okay,
away my PC's 3070 right now. The base PS5 gets commonly compared to the 2080. It's a little bad faith argument. It's probably closer to a 2070. Just in the sense that 2080 has more ray tracing cores and stuff like that than a base PS5, which is one of the other major upgrades. They've really ramped up the ray tracing capability in the PS5 Pro. Really trying to push the fact that you'll be able to play in performance mode with ray tracing on and not have to, pick the I mean, some games like Insomniac was
we'll
really
do
notable for
performance
it.
with ray tracing. Yeah,
Yeah,
those modes do exist, but they're rare.
it's mostly just Insomniac games as you think
Yeah,
through it,
yeah.
because Insomniac are fucking
I think
wizards
you're
with
100%. I think you're 100% correct. The only ones that I can think of are Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man that have
yeah.
those.
But the other big upgrade is a 28% increase in memory speed. Again, so that's your RAM access, so that loading times and stuff like that should feel snappier. Even
Which is going to be crazy because PS5 is already an incredibly fast
yeah.
loading.
The fun part about the PS5 for me is when I play PS4 games off of my my spinning hard drive. It's like, oh, booting up the game, pull the phone out, scroll Reddit for a little bit.
Funny
And then
one.
I switch to a PS5 game, and it's like, okay, put the disc, hit the button.
The funny
We're on the
ones are
menu.
the funny ones are where like it's like an older game or whatever playing on a PS5, and it's like it's trying to give you tips or something on a loading
Yeah, and it
screen, and
can't.
it loads too fast because I can't read it because it loads too fast.
And then the other additional upgrade is the PSSR. It's a super sampling AI upscaler that they've included, which is supposed to mostly be there to help legacy hardware. So the one of the selling points in the show or the showcase for the PS5 Pro was that there's going to be 8,500 PS4 games that get performance increase out of this.
Is this going to be the way that we get 60
Bloodborne.
frame Bloodborne on a console?
No.
Yeah, no, that's the
I've
joke that everybody
yeah.
makes. It's so funny.
I've already talked through why that won't happen, because Bloodborne is a product of its time with From Software, where they were still doing physics based frame rate connections. So if you upgraded Bloodborne to 60 frames per second, you would have some of the wonkiest interactions possible, like the infinite ladder glitch where you would slide
Flattering
through
yourself.
the floor.
So what do you think? What do you think any performance changes in Bloodborne would be on the
It would
Pro?
be resolution. You would definitely see a noticeable resolution change if they were to do that. It would be a consistency of frame rate, because it says 30 frames, but man, on the PS4 Slim, that is not always the case.
Too much blood splatter makes it not good. Makes it chug.
Looking at you, Nightmare of Mensis, the entire level, just 24 frames, hopefully. But like the AI upscaler is an interesting add-on. They say that it won't impact any of your performance in regular games because they have all that extra memory speed, so that you're not worried about the AI. Because like on a computer, when you're running NVIDIA Broadcast for your microphone and your camera to block out your background, and then you say you want to use, oh God, is it
DLSS.
FSR is the Intel one?
FSR is AMD, isn't it? And then
Yeah,
DLSS
AMD.
is NVIDIA.
Yeah. And let's say you want to use DLSS to make your game run better. Like you're going to
V-Sync.
start to notice a performance issue on your computer as it's like, that's a lot of AI for me, friend.
I'm not
I
actually.
can't do
I
all
don't.
of that.
Don't forget, I am still a rock that you have tricked into thinking.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things, so they did a, they, Sony is
Those
not
poor
necessarily
rocks.
going to sit there and be like, hey guys, look how dog shit this game looks on the base PS5 and look how great it looks on the PS5 Pro now. They tried to avoid that in their main presentation. They didn't really want to do a like.
It was a bad presentation. Let's say
Yes.
that it did not sell, like the Digital Foundry stuff sold it, for people,
Yeah,
and like actually
that's also what
showed the
Digital Foundry
difference.
does.
Right. But
They
it's like
probably should have partnered with
didn't.
Digital Foundry to
They did not
work
put it
on a showcase.
on its best foot forward. By because you're right, because what and a lot of analysts are saying basically is like that, yes, the base model is still going to be the value statement for Sony, so they don't want to make that look like, oh, PS5 is trash, avoid at all costs, right?
Can you
So
imagine if they had like a Series S equivalent and they're like, hey guys, look how fucking trash this game looks.
maybe I have rose tinted glasses or whatever, but speaking of the Digital Foundry thing, the footage that they showed of Final Fantasy Rebirth, I'm like, you're trying to gaslight me, you British bastards. Like,
No,
it
I
did
can
not look
attest
that
because
bad.
I played Rebirth on both settings. There is a definite graphical downgrade when you go to
Oh,
performance mode.
absolutely. It was blurry as hell. No question about it. Facial shadows are like non-existent, and
So like
absolutely.
getting a console that can give you better than graphics quality graphics at better than performance mode performance, that's a big upgrade to me. That's why I was excited personally. Also because I'm starting to get really sick of my fucking computer and it's bullshit.
Right. Right.
I,
No, I have shifted more, definitely just more consistently as PlayStation as my most used. Damn it.
Yeah. And
Uh,
like when I initially said I was going to be the one to buy it because you were all out, it was like, well, someone in the group needs to be the one to bite the bullet. I've just got a new job with a nice new signing bonus and a new salary. Like I can easily afford to, throw $700 in here, get a disk drive for $80, buy a stand, and upgrade my setup and do that, the big change, and try to do the, direct comparison. But like one of the funnier ones is when people would comment on the Digital Foundry video and be like, I don't see any difference. It's like you're watching on your phone.
and not a very good phone either.
Like you
Yeah.
really can't watch that comparison unless you're watching it in 4K.
I certainly see the difference. I just am not at a point where I care enough yet. Once there's a game that like
GTA 6.
doesn't run too well, yeah, maybe it'll be that. But once there's a game that doesn't run great on the base version, that's when I'll actually like.
I'm fairly confident in saying that GTA 6 is going to be what pushes PS5 Pros. Because it'll be something like PS5 is going to run at 30 frames per second, Xbox Series X is going to run at 30 frames per second, PS5 Pro 60. Xbox Series S is running at 15 frames and 480p,
and you can only play in 40-minute increments. It shuts it off for you.
You get a warning prompt as you approach an hour that your console is about to hit critical melting point for all the solder.
You're putting yourself in physical danger.
All right. We're putting ourselves in danger if we go any longer here. folks.
I'm
I've already-
excited though. I'm looking forward to my PS5 Pro showing up. They're still in stock. You can pre-order them from Sony direct. They go to retailers on October 10th for pre-orders, so you can get your Best Buys, your Amazons, your fucking Walmarts and Targets and shit.
I may still try to grab a base level of the of the anniversary edition controllers just to display somewhere if it comes
Yeah,
back
I
at one of those
considered that.
retailers.
I'm a little sad. I kind of like I said it in the group chat where I wish I wasn't so stupid and tried to go for the PS5 Pro 30th bundle and just got a base PS5 Pro and then the DualSense Edge. I think that would have been my happy point.
Yeah, if I didn't get the base Pro, I was either gonna do also become a hypocrite and buy the special edition Portal and and a new and one of the Edge as well. But I was like,
If I didn't already have a
the-
Portal, I would
the
have
dem-
snagged it
the
because
demons-
that was the one in stock the longest.
the demons spoke to me. So, all right, folks. To support us and our unhealthy spending habits, you can follow us at twitch.tv/campaignComrades. You can check out the Patreon. All those plugs I've already hit already. We will be back next week with our pre-Halloween spooky episode where we will be talking about BioShock.
Ooh.
We're really only talking about the first game, but in a lot of ways, probably going to talk about the others, probably. So it's largely just going to be the BioShock games episode with a focus on the first one.
That's how we've
And-
basically turned the game focused episodes if it's a franchise into.
Yeah, it's just like I don't think we'll ever come back and be like, we gotta talk about BioShock Infinite on its own. I don't think that's gonna happen. So
I'm gonna make BioShock 2 my game choice for you all to play
oh my
next year.
god. Well, I mean, I've already played it, but like I would be seriously disappointed. Okay, but that's what you can expect from us next. I don't think we haven't talked about and I probably don't have enough time at this point to do a tabletop episode this coming month, so we may be on a hiatus from that as we try to maybe work out a new system. And we'll decide on our
No, we're
we should
playing
try-
one D&D, guys. We're transitioning.
We also got to try to decide on a spooky themed adaptation as well, if we can, without doing just another Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Silent Hill.
Yes.
There is a Silent Hill movie. Okay, I guess that's probably what we'll do. God damn it!
Boom.
We're actually gonna get a little scary.
Spooky.
I'm not happy about this. All right, folks, but you can do all those things, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.